biscuits. So I had already filmed another creepy video and I was like, you know what? I'm on a roll. Let's do another one. So, I don't know if you guys have heard about the black-eyed kids. These kids have been going around the internet for a while now, and honestly, they creep the shit out of me. They are completely something else. The urban legend of the black-eyed kids is that they are a paranormal creature that disguises itself as a child between the ages of 6 and 16. They have very pale skin. They have like very old looking clothes and haircut, and with very black, like pitch black eyes. Like they have no whites on their eye, I was gonna say in their ass. And they don't have a white to their eye. And they have been seen either trying to hitchhike or at residential homes, just like knocking on the doors or cars and stuff. So basically, most encounters that people have with the black-eyed kids is that either they're in their car, they come up to them and they knock on the window or whatnot, and they ask if they could come in. And as soon as you see these kids, you know, you get this weird feeling like they're not normal, that there's something completely wrong with them. And you feel like kind of uneasy, you get like this gut feeling that something isn't right. The whole time the kids are like this, they're looking down and they're asking you, can I come in, while they're looking down. And if you ask them, where is your parents? Like, where are your parents? They're like, they'll be here in a minute. They'll be here soon. Once people actually see the kid's face and they see that their eyes are completely black, they turn around, you know, they lock the doors. They're like, you can't come in, and just like make sure that they can't get in. And that's the end of it, you know? Nobody has ever let any of the black-eyed kids in their homes. And I say kids because they come in pairs. Usually it's a boy and a girl. And like I said, their clothes is they kind of look like they were like from the Mormon community. That's the type of attire that they wear, is kind of like that Mormon clothing. And like I said, nobody has ever let them in until one lady did last year. And she posted on this website that I actually completely stumbled on by mistake. And I'm going to read to you just a little bit of her story. So let me get my laptop. Sorry, I need to read it. Okay, so this is a little bit of what she posted on the website. She said, "Let me start by saying that I know how hard it will all be to believe. But now that things have been taking a turn for the worst, I start looking for stories similar to mine. I made this mistake of letting the black-eyed children inside, and now I'm worried I might die because of it." So basically, she's scared she's gonna die. I hope this will be a warning to everyone who is ever in the position to make the same mistake as I did. I live just outside of Vermont. It's a tight-knit community where everyone knows each other and people don't lock their doors at all. It's never been needed to. A little over a year ago, I woke up because I heard a loud banging on my front door. At the time, my husband and I lived in a small home on a dirt road just off the rural route into town. It was the middle of a snowstorm, and nearby hills get very slippery in the snow, so I thought that somebody might have been in an accident or broke down. It has happened before. When I looked out the window, I could see that the motion detector light was on. I could see that there was footprints in the snow that had come from our road and into our driveway, but there was no car anywhere. I could see that there were footprints in the snow that had come from our road and into our driveway, but there were no cars to be seen. The snow was still covering the road, and no one had driven on it for at least a couple of hours. I could not see the front door from the window, but I could see that someone was standing there. I was not sure what to think, so I woke up my husband. While I was telling him what was going on, the banging on the front door started again, and my husband went to answer it while I stood in the hallway. When he opened the door, there were two children standing in the snow, looking towards the ground. There were a boy and a girl. They could not have been more than 8 years old. They were dressed strangely and had odd haircuts. The girl's hair was very long and straight, and the boy had a out-of-date haircut that kind of looked like a bowl cut. They weren't dressed for winter. My first thought was that they must have been from the Mormon community. But as far as I knew, there were not that many Mormons that lived near us. Thinking back on it, I know that my normal reaction to seeing children in a snowstorm would have been to rush them inside and bundle them up with some blankets and hot cocoa. Bless you. But that's not how this felt. The children were very unnerving. They would not make eye contact, and when my husband asked them if everything was okay, they asked if they could come in. My husband looked at me like, what do I do? And I asked the kids where their parents were. They'll be here soon, it's all they said. It was around 2 o'clock in the morning at this point, so the only reasonable thought in my head was that there must have been an accident, or these kids got lost. As much as my instinct told me not to bring them inside, I did anyways. See, that's what, she's gonna die. That's all I have to say. While I was fixing the cocoa, I could hear my husband talking to the kids. He was asking if they were okay, where they came from, how far they walked, if their parents' car had broken down, things like that. But they always answered, our parents will be here soon. See, that shit is creepy, I don't know. Okay. They spoke in a singing song voice. They weren't afraid to be in a stranger's home at all. See, if they were talking to me like in a singing song, in a singing voice, something like that, I would have been creeped out and kicked them out of my house. I don't know about this lady. So, I started to notice that our cats were all hiding except for Pagan, who was still in the kitchen with us. Normally, our cats are very curious and friendly. See, that's a sign right there. Come on. All of the hairs on Pagan's neck were standing up and its tail was puffed up while he was looking into the living room. When I bent down to pet him and to see what was wrong, he hissed and started growling and backing up until he hid himself under the kitchen island. I have never seen him do that before. See, if your cats are freaking out, it's time they should kick them kids out. What the hell? When I walked back into the living room, the kids were sitting on the couch as still as they can be. But my husband was holding his head in his hands. I asked him what was wrong, and he just said that he felt very dizzy all of a sudden, but that he was fine. I turned back to the children to give them their cocoa, but when they looked up at me, I gasped. It took everything inside of me not to drop the mugs and run away. When they looked at me, their eyes were completely black. They had no whites, just giant black pupils. When they saw that I was scared, they stood up and asked if they could use the bathroom. I tried to be composed as I could be and show them down the hall. They went into the bathroom together, and I hurried back to my husband to ask him if he had seen their eyes. We were in the middle of talking about whose children they could be when my husband's nose started to bleed. He had never had nosebleeds as long as I've known him. I just knew inside of me that this had something to do with the kids in the bathroom. I started to cry while I ran to get some tissues for my husband. That's when the power went out. I heard my husband yell my name from the living room, and as I started to walk back through the hallway, I stopped dead in my tracks. The two children were standing at the end of the hallway. They weren't moving. I had never been so scared in my whole life. I just stood there in the dark. After what I felt was like forever, the boy said, our parents are here. And they walked to the door, opened it, and they walked out, leaving it wide open. My husband jumped up to go close it and almost fell over. We looked out the window and saw two men standing by a black car at the end of our driveway. The men looked like they were wearing black color suits and were very tall, at least 6 feet tall. See, that kind of sounds to me like the Men in Black. I don't know if you guys have heard about that theory or like seen anything about them. Not the movie, even though that's pretty much like kind of the same thing. But it kind of sounds like the Men in Black kind of thing. So that's creepy right there. When my husband waved at them, they just stared at us, got into the car, and drove off. Over the next few months, 3 of our cats went missing. We can only assume that they ran away somewhere and never came back. But the worst thing was coming home to find Pagan in a puddle of blood on the living room floor. He looked like he had been vomiting blood. The vet told us that he had some kind of hemorrhage. Like, how did the cat get a hemorrhage? After my husband's nosebleeds became a regular occurrence, we went to see a doctor. He didn't know what to make of it. Dry nasal passages, he said. But my husband was diagnosed with an aggressive skin cancer. When the doctor asked us if he used tanning beds, we both thought he was joking. But apparently this kind of melanoma is linked to overuse of indoor tanning beds. The doctors think he will recover, but don't understand how it got so bad so quickly. My husband has never worked outdoor jobs and spent relatively little time in the sun. Since we let the black-eyed kids inside our home, I've also suffered very regular dizzy spells, nosebleeds on a regular basis. I've had other issues which I'm not going to mention here, but trust me when I say that I am suddenly in the worst condition of my life and no one can do anything about it. So all of that happened after she let these children inside her home. This is why you don't let these kids inside your home. You know, this is why nobody ever has, because they listen to their gut and they just ran the fuck the other way, you know? They did not let them in. So I hope she's fine, and I also hope that it's not true, and if it is, you know, then I really do hope that they do get better and that they don't have any more tragedies happen to them. So that was all for this video. I really do hope you guys enjoyed hearing about the black-eyed kids. If you guys happen to run into one, just run the fuck the other way. Don't even think about it twice. Just stay away from them. And if you guys are interested in reading more in detail her story, I'll link the website I found the story on right below in the description bar. I hope you guys liked it. Please give the video a big thumbs up, comment below other things you want to see. Please subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.